Hey guys, I thought I'd give you a little update and tell you some good news. I Yesterday I posted in the community section a poll on YouTube, and I was asking how people felt about the idea of us having a separate Patreon and Fritzy sort of editing and creating my videos on there into spiritual topics and us asking for $1 or $2 for each video that I publish. I feel very uncomfortable with asking for money for stuff, and I don't think we'll end up doing it, but I just want to say why that happened. Um, I'm a normal human being like the rest of you, and I have my own times where I wrestle with my trust and my faith and my ego, and I forget. Of all the people, I know it's very strange considering that faith alone helped me to build a village in Africa to help disabled children when I had no money and no foresight of how that could ever possibly happen. It was just something I knew should happen, and it managed to happen, all by the grace of God. I think I would have enough faith, but even after that I don't. But anyway, Fritzy and I are expecting another baby, and Aslan will be having a little brother or sister around about August this year, and it was not planned, it was unexpected, and these things happen. It's definitely, I guess, something God wanted. We wanted Aslan to have a brother or sister within 2 years of his age. I just think it's better that way, to have siblings closer together, from what we see and what we've read in psychology and what we've seen from various different things that Fritzy educates me on, because she spends so much time learning about parenting and family dynamics, etc. But with me being sick, we said that we should put it off. But here we are. Nature has a way of giving you its blessings when it wants to, and God too. So we are expecting. And because of that, I go into the normal place that any man goes. Oh, how am I going to provide? And it's different. I know I've provided for all these children in Tanzania. Hundreds of children in Tanzania have been provided for through the work I've done, and of course the work of the team as well. But my idea was me who forged that forward out of the infinite stardust of possibilities within reality, and other people joined me on that forging forward. And there was a time where I was without much of a team and solely providing based on prayer alone. But it's different with your own family. I can't exactly say I want a donation for my European son and son, or son and daughter, or however it will be, because people expect Europeans to work for themselves, of course. And I agree, if a man is able, he should work for himself. But that's where I get caught up. How do I work for myself? I want so desperately for the charity not to pay a CEO or anything like that, but it's getting to the point where I'm wondering whether the charity does need to employ somebody on not a big salary, on a low salary. But then I've gone back on what I hoped for. But there is just a realistic sense that the charity gets to a size where you need to employ someone back in Europe. And I'm at that place now. I'd still like to make it so as everything that's donated, however, goes to the children, or goes to Tanzania and helps the people that needs it, that need it most. Which is why I upped my Patreon at the beginning of 2020. I decided to, and I did it yesterday actually. And I set an additional $2,000 a month, and that is out of needing a little extra for the new baby, naturally, because we will need additional costs for the baby. Not as many as with Aslan, because we've got Aslan's things to recycle, but when it comes to travelling and so on, it's going to start incurring costs in time. And at the same time, we want to ensure that we've got the best for our kids, like any parent out there does. But the main thing for that, because that would be very minor if anything, to be honest, is employing someone. We'd really like someone to be working with us, because Fritzy and I are really exhausted. Even I, while I'm sick, I'm still having to work. And Fritzy is pregnant and she's working a lot, like really a lot. And then got Aslan, and then I'm still sick, so I don't really have all of my energy to deal with Aslan all day. I don't have energy, for instance, to watch Aslan all day long. I still have a problem with my mitochondria. Today I went to the park with Aslan, to the swings, and pushed him around a little bit, and by the time I got home I was extremely ill with a lot of the typical symptoms I get from my immune system, which are totally debilitating. So for me to keep going as we are, it's impossible. It's just impossible. My wife can't keep up with it Fritzy can't keep up with it in this current state that she's in. She'll need more time to rest as the pregnancy goes on. Aslan's entering his terrible twos, which is a factor on our lives, and the charity's getting bigger, so the workload's getting bigger. And that's why I've upped that Patreon, to try and allow us to get something to employ somebody. Now, the only other way we could do it is to look at taking fundraising to employ someone in Europe, but I'm still not comfortable with it, because that's something I ever wanted to do. But we've just gotten so big. If I reduced the projects, if I just had the children's village, then we'd probably manage. But we don't. We have Angel's Gate, we have the dogs, and we have the children's fund. Have I bitten off more than I can chew? Well, I don't think so, because I can coordinate other people to do this. I just don't have the resources, and people need to live. It's a romantic notion people can live for free, but they can't. So, well, I did for a while, but I got very unwell due to it. You know, when Fritzy met me, I was just eating mangoes because it's what I could get my hand on. I was very skinny, very gaunt, and being the martyr and not being sensible, but also, I guess, God took pity on me and brought us to where we are, thankfully. So that's where it came from. Someone asked me if I'm wanting to hoard tunics, and I said, no, I just don't have enough tunics for the purpose of living. You know, I don't want a lavish life. I don't want, a sports car. I don't want a mansion. I don't want to save any money. But I did say that one of the things we would like is to have a way to be close to our family. I have an aging family here in Europe. Fritzy has an aging family. We have our world and family in Tanzania, but we are split between two worlds, naturally. And we have a home now in the local town in Tanzania, which we will have to pay rent on if we don't move back to Featherstail. The house I lived in Featherstail currently has 10 children living in it, and every room is full, half of which are disabled, half of which are able-bodied girls, all desperately needing somewhere to stay. So even the home that I once lived in is not available, so we have to be able to rent somewhere in Tanzania to live, it would seem, until we get expansion and can build us somewhere to live near Featherstail again. But for now, we're okay to be away because it gives us some space, because it's very intense living in a community where everybody's in need, coming for assistance when they... and it's unhealthy that it's perceived that you're the one giving it. That's why there'd be a queue of people waiting to talk to me when I was waking up, and that's not okay for anybody's health. So it's kind of healthy to be aware, but it means we have to pay rent. We'd love to be able to have a base here. To be honest, travelling here and getting Airbnbs as we are would probably make more sense to just rent a smaller place and be set, and us Airbnb that smaller place when we're not home, when we're not here, which is what we aim to do. And to do that, though, we need to start looking at how our lives are and how we earn money as parents to our own children. That's why I came up with the Patreon idea. I, of course, have my book coming, and finally I've got the mental capacity to be able to write it, so just watch that space. If you did the Kickstarter before I got sick, you haven't been forgotten, and I'm just sorry for the delay. I think you all have empathy and patience why that happened. The children's book is coming soon, delayed because a very great person who is the illustrator lives in the Philippines, right next to the volcano. It's not funny, but right next to the volcano. And I was like, of all the things to delay my children's book, a volcanic eruption was quite a cool thing to delay the illustrations of the children's book. But they are nearly done, and that'll be coming soon. But that is supposed to be to raise money for the kids, not for me. My book, I could discuss with everyone if they would accept that I'm going to take a percentage from my family of every copy that's sold. Might be a valid option. Now the other we thought was to do the other Patreon, but I don't feel comfortable sharing truth for money. It's a bit difficult. It's all very hard and confusing in my position. Then on the other side of me says, just trust God, he'll work it out. But I'm also not too naive to think I can just pray and not meet God halfway somewhere. You know, I'm not just going to pray and wait for a sack of money to come from somewhere. It doesn't work that way. And that's why I'm kind of praying and meditating on it. But the very human part of myself, upon knowing that I'm going to be a father again, whilst I'm sick and whilst everything's going on as it is, tries to solve the hows on its own before they've been given to me. And these are the hows that I've got in my gut. And I have a feeling God will push one of those hows to the forefront, actually. I think one of those avenues will be how we can sustain our lives running the charity and at the same time raise our own children in the way that they should be raised. As in, we have families who will help us and families who will come to us, etc., like anyone else, but we want to be able to make sure that when the time comes our children can come to a home. There's a necessity to have a home somewhere, and Airbnb to here to Airbnb to, it's just a little bit too much, we feel, and not fair. Now we as humans have a lot to work out, a lot to think about. We've very kindly, from an amazing guy, been offered a stay in Thailand for free this year. We're wondering about going. His name is Mel, and he owns a resort out there, and he is a healing coach and a profoundly wonderful human being. But he offered us that, so we're wondering whether we should go there and rest and decide and work things out away from things. But then on the other hand, we want to be close to our friends and family. By now, Tanzania, I'm missing everyone and so much. The kids, the dogs, and some of the kids are sick, and some of them need me, you know. So it's all a lot. Life is a lot at the moment. And I just wanted to share that update with you. I'll do a separate video about a health update. I am improving, you can all see that. Turning point was having an amalgam filling took out that I'd left in my mouth, knowing it should come out, but I just didn't have time last year. I really feel that, and the kratom, the pain relief, has been a huge turning point for me. Of course, having the aphoresis, the toxic stuff took out of my blood, remembering I still had a lot of cobalt and stuff like that in my blood. I'm getting the results soon to show me exactly how much was still left in. So all that has helped me a lot, but that's another video. For now, I'm just talking about that, and no, I'm not wanting to hoard more tunics. I just need to be able to live my life in a way where it's doable. It's quite simply. So we need to employ someone. If we end up having to work out a new way, we'll find a path through all of these hows that'll make it work. But that's where that came from. I don't know if it's something I'll be able to do because I don't feel right charging for truth. But then part of me says, well, if it's $1 and it allows you to keep going, is it a bit similar to a church asking for donations to spread the truth of love from itself? Not that I'm saying I'm a church by any measure. I'm full of questions, and I think, as always, the only person who can answer those questions is God, so I'll need some time alone to get still and work it all out. But I just wanted to give you an update, and if you see me not laying all my faith in God, it's because a very normal, primal aspect of myself that of being a biological father once again, especially whilst I'm sick, and that's a struggle for both of us, that's a struggle, then that's where that's coming from. You know, I'm a human, and I wrestle with all the human problems that we all do. And out of all the humans, I should by now have that faith and trust in God, and I do. I guess I'm just trying to verbalize out loud and share with you guys that I'm currently listening hard to see how it is that's going to bring me the ability to look after everything as we need to, and ensure the charity's growth is sustainable, because at present it's not, due to us not being able to keep up with the workload here in Europe, because there's a workload here now, not just Fritzy and I, but there are 3 other persons helping as well. They are not paid, the volunteers. As we are from the charity, we are not paid. It's your Patreon alone that allows Fritzy and I to survive. So maybe God will bring me a how that I can't even perceive. As I always say, the how's not up to me, but those are floating inside me, and I almost feel perhaps one of them is from God. It's just the others in my carnal mind, because I'm freaking out, because I'm going to be a dad again, and I'm super overwhelmed about it, in one sense, and I'm always between the worlds when I've got a very physical event going on in a very spiritual being. It's very hard. You end up really kind of the space between hot and cold almost in it, you know, being thrown about by your own energies, your own loving energies that can go in different directions. Anyway, that was all. Yeah, we'll be welcoming another little Saint Julien into the world later this year. God bless, guys.